February. February was a good month. I think I read 6 books in February. I was very upset with myself though because none of them were physical books. They were all Audible books and Kindle U-books. So, let's see. Okay, so the first book I read was The Merciless Ones, which is the second book in the Gilded One series by Namina Forna. So I will say that I didn't dislike this book, but it didn't live up to book number 1 for me. And even when I read it the first time, I was kind of like frustrated with it at times. Those feelings did not change reading it the second time. It just didn't. So book number 2 follows Deka and her friends on their quest. More secrets are revealed. More questions come up. It's not that this book is bad. I just don't know, because I know in going and reading it the second time, after being frustrated with it the first time, I didn't have a whole lot to reflect on the second time. It was slow in the beginning. Like, the beginning is very slow. And don't get me wrong, the action does pick up eventually in the book, but it didn't live up to book number 1. So, and honestly, I was rereading those 2 books because book 3 was coming out this year. So I was like, hey, I need to refresh myself on these. But good book overall, just not great. Okay. So the next book I read was Twisted Love by Anna Huang. And this book, I gave it 4 stars. But to be honest, I probably should have just gave it a 3. I mean, it was okay. It wasn't mind-blowing for me. It was good. Just not like, oh wow. So this was I guess this is what's considered a dark romance. I think on the book it says it's like a grumpy sunshine. I guess that's like a sub-genre trope situation. Anyway, so our main characters are Ava and Alex. And this is a part of a series. And so far, this has been the only one I've read. I don't know if I'll continue the series or not. There's just so many books out there. So I think for now, it's good that I just kind of like dip my toes in the water on this one. Anyway, our main characters are Ava and Alex. And Alex is Ava's brother's best friend. Her brother's name is Josh. So what I did like about this book is, I guess, like the backstory on these 2 characters. So Ava and Alex both had some pretty traumatic childhoods. So Ava's mom tried to kill her when she was like 3, and she has no memory of her childhood from like between the ages of 3 and 6 or 3 and 8. And then Alex witnessed his parents, well, not just his parents, but he witnessed his family get murdered when he was like 11. So pretty messed up stuff, right? But they're an unlikely pair. He's very rigid, kind of cold, focused. I think he's even rich. I think he's rich. He owns him and his uncle own his dad's company. I think like he was the CEO, but he stepped down, and so his uncle's kind of the CEO, or they're planning on shifting that title to his uncle at some point. Something like that. Anyway, Alex is rich. So Ava's brother kind of gets a job, or for some reason he has to move. So he's like, hey, I'm going to be away for several months. I don't know when I'm going to be away for several months. I need you to look after my sister. Can you keep an eye out on her? Just, make sure she's okay and things like that. So begrudgingly, Alex is like, okay, like, I'd rather you ask me anything than that. Ask me to water your plants. Ask me to, house it. Don't ask me to look after your damn sister. But it's his best friend, so he's like, okay, I got you, dude. So anyway, Ava and her friends take it upon themselves to create this little game just to see, you know, because they're all like, oh my god, like he's such a freaking robot, right? Let's see if we can make him feel. So they set up like this series of challenges to get Alex to experience this range of emotions. So anyway, as time goes on, somehow Alex and Ava start to develop feelings for each other. As much as Alex tries to resist it, oh god, no, my best friend's sister, no. They hook up, right? So they fall in love, but Alex is so cold and reserved that he doesn't quite know how to say that, or whatever. So anyway, let's see. There's a lot of secrets and lies in this, and there was a pretty messed up twist. But just my real takeaway from this book was like, oh my gosh, like they both had some pretty messed up childhoods. Like their backstory was just heartbreaking. Like oh my god, it just what they both endured and experienced. But there is this scene where Alex he's finally able to verbalize it and admit that he loves her, that he's in love with her. And you know, her best friend kind of coaxes it out of him, and he's just like, okay, damn it, like I love her, and give me the information I need. It was just like, oh, finally. And then his heart grew 2 sizes larger, or however the saying goes from the Grinch. You know what I'm talking about. So, I just ate that shit up. I ate it up. So, but yeah. So, 3 to 4 stars-ish, you know. Next book that I read was Snow King Catches a Snowflake. And I believe this one is by A.E. Valdez. I believe so. And I gave this one 4 stars. So, after I read Twisted Love, I don't know if it was Twisted Love that did it. Yeah, Twisted Love had me kind of like in a book coma. Like it was so, I don't even know if it was that it was heavy. I don't know. But for some reason, I was like in a book funk. Like it took me a while to get into something. I think I'd even like started some things and just didn't, I don't know, I couldn't get into anything. But then I read this, and it was, excuse me, it was such a cozy read. Like, I found myself smiling a lot while reading it, and it felt like home. Like, I don't know, it just gave me this homey, cozy feeling. So, this story is about Snow King and Noelle. I don't have her last name in my notes. But anyway, so Snow is like he's the middle child in this group of 3 boys. And they own a successful toy company that was basically passed down to them after their father died. And Noelle is just coming out of a long-term relationship. She's just getting out of a really bad breakup. And her friends are like, they're encouraging her, like, hey, you need a trip. You need some time for yourself, boo. And oh my god, my battery's about to die, and I am such a YouTube newbie, I don't have another battery. So, and I've been looking on Amazon. I've been looking at batteries on Amazon. What an amateur, right? So before this bad boy cuts off on me, I'm going to put a pin in it right here. And we are going to pick up here after it charges, okay? See you guys in a little bit.
Meanwhile, 2 hours later, 8:01 p.m. the next day.
And we're back. So yesterday, my battery died and I had to recharge it because I am a rookie and I only have one battery at this point. So we are at the next day. I'm gonna try to pick up where we left off. We were discussing my Q1 wrap up, so our January through March reads. And I think I was just getting into my February reads, or we'd gotten a little ways into it. So when we left off, I was talking about Snow King Catches His Snowflake. Okay, so once again, this one was by A.E. Valdez. I believe it's Valdez. And this was a 4-star read for me. Cozy read. It really felt like home. I'm having a little deja vu. I feel like I've said this. I love the dialogue in this. Like, absolutely love the dialogue between our main characters, Noelle, the main male character and the main female character, their conversations together, but especially like the friend group conversations. So listening to Noelle, our main female character, just have this banter back and forth with her her sister and her best friend was just, it felt like home. It felt like the conversations that I have with my sister and my friends from high school and from college, and my work friends. It really felt so natural. It felt great. So let's see. So like I said, our main characters are Noelle and Snow. So this is I guess the tropes, and this is a romance. So I guess the tropes in this is close or forced proximity, one bed. I don't think this is necessarily enemies to lovers, because they don't really have a whole lot of history to be enemies, but I guess they kind of start off as enemies. Basically, in this story, Noelle is getting out of this like terrible breakup, and her friends encourage her to go on take a trip. Hey, go get your groove back, go, do you, relax, maybe meet somebody, possibly just have a good time. And Snow is this businessman. I think he's like co-CEO of a toy company that was passed down to him and his brothers from his dad. And his dad is deceased. So every year he takes like a solo trip right around the holidays or before he goes to visit his mother. So they both end up booking well, he doesn't personally book himself. His secretary or his assistant books him a trip to like this Christmas themed villa. And I think Snow is kind of a grouch, or kind of a grump when it comes to Christmas. So his assistant thought it'd be funny to book him a stay at this place. So they both are set to go on this trip, and they have this accidental meeting right in the same like villa, the same room. So it turns out that the villa double booked the room. So here they are, I think in the scene, like, Noelle is coming out of the bathroom, she's in her towel, she's naked or half naked, and boom, here's this tall, dark, handsome man, in the same room. So, and it's funny because she maces him. She sprays him with mace or whatever. So they're kind of at odds for a little bit, and unfortunately, the villa is overbooked, or the villa is, at capacity. So it's either somebody leaves or they share the room. And so they choose to stay and share the room. And they just kind of, they open up to each other. At first they're, skittish about each other, but then they eventually kind of open up to each other, warm up to each other. And, their little feelings for each other blossom. So it's a really cute story. It was just very, I loved it. I found myself smiling a lot while reading it. Like I said, the banter was just so adorable and cute. And it was sweet how like relaxed they were with each other. Like an awesome side character for me was this woman, Brielle. And Brielle is actually like the best friend of Snow's ex-fiance, who has passed away. This isn't a, this isn't a spoiler. She's deceased or passed away, prior to the start of the book or whatever. So I really love Brielle though, because she wanted the best for Snow. Like, she wanted him to be happy. She wanted him to move on. They still had a relationship, even though that was her best friend. Even though, his ex-fiance was his best friend, she continued to look out for him. They continued to have, this friendship and this bond, even though her friend was gone, It was so sweet how supportive she was of him and his happiness. So I love that. All right, so next up, Failure to Thrive. And this one is by, I believe, L. Rivers. This one I almost DNF'd. I'm not gonna lie. This one started out, for me, I almost DNF'd it because I didn't like the fact that it was written in third person. Like, it felt kind of weird, just because I guess the romance, because this is a romance. The romance books that I've read recently have all kind of been in first person, and I love that, that POV. And this one was written in third person, and it just, I don't know, I didn't like the feel of it at first. But I kept reading because my sister-in-law was like, oh, this is amazing, so great. She like flew through the series. I think there's like 3 books in the series, and she was just like, oh my gosh, like, she breezed through them within a couple of days. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna persevere. I'm gonna keep going. And I'm glad that I did, because I really enjoyed it. So the story follows Riley, and Riley is a hot mess. I'm just gonna say, Riley is a hot mess. So in the very beginning of the book, like, homegirl's life is just, oh, it's a mess. So I think in the very beginning of the book, like, she gets into, she works in a bar, and I think she gets involved in a bar fight somehow, and she heads home, and it's so crazy too, because you see it coming. So she's all like, oh, well, why is, she says her best friend's name. I don't know her best friend's name, but I can't remember it. But she's like, oh, well, why is so-and-so's car here at my, my apartment or whatever? She doesn't even like my boyfriend. Like, they hate each other. So she goes into the apartment, and she hears them like whispering, talking in the background, or, in the back room. And, she hears them like admit to like loving each other, and how they're gonna like tell her, eventually, or some crap like that. So, I mean, we're like, what, 2 pages in, and we find out that her boyfriend is cheating on her. And not only is he cheating on her, he's cheating on her with her best friend, who they have, supposedly hate. They hate each other. So, poor Riley, right? Shitty night at work. Then to come home and find out that, oh, hey, my best friend and my boyfriend are getting it in. And not only are they getting it in, they're in love. So she moves back in with her mom. And her mom, this is, I don't know why this like year has started out with like the terrible moms in books. But Riley's mom, she's a piece of work too. Another like unsupportive mom, and not only unsupportive, but like judgmental. There's some trigger warnings in this one too. I think there's they don't outwardly say that Riley has like a mental health disorder, but she does drink excessively. So it doesn't say that she's diagnosed with alcoholism, and but she does overdrink. So there may be some alcohol abuse in this. So just a fair warning. Then we have our main male character, okay? So, Oliver. And Oliver is a single dad. His wife is deceased. Yeah, single dad, loaded, rich. But, I mean, his daughter is his whole entire world. And in the beginning of the story, he has an issue with his nanny, and he's in desperate need of a new nanny. You know, he needs someone to take care of his daughter. You know, he's running a company. You know, he can't, and his daughter has some like separation anxiety. She's really clingy, so he needs somebody that not only can take care of his child, but you know that his child is gonna, you know, trust. So Riley's sister actually works for Oliver. And I think at this point he only needed like a babysitter for like one night. So, you know, her sister's like, hey, you know, I hate to like, you know, like if you're desperate, you're in a pinch, my sister could watch her. She's like, you know, hey, she's great with my boys, but I'm going to tell you, you know, she has some issues. She's kind of irresponsible. She kind of drinks. She has, you know, she has an issue with drinking. And he's like, whoa, wait, you know, is you're recommending your sister to me, but you're telling me she has a drinking problem. And she's like, oh no, I mean, like she'll be solid for, you know, for this, you know, for this one night. Yeah, so Oliver is like, hey, well, I'm desperate. He takes a chance on Riley. And it turns out that, you know, his daughter ends up really forming this attachment to Riley. And he's like, hey, this was great. I've never been, you know, we've never had a successful night, you know, where where she didn't cry for me, or, you know, where she wasn't looking for me and all this jazz or whatever. So Riley becomes the, you know, the regular full-time nanny. It's really sweet to see her relationship build and with the child, because I didn't think I was gonna like it. I was like, oh, this is a romance with little kids. You know, when you think about romance books, you don't think about kids. But I think I'm starting to like romance books with children. With like, you know, hold on, that sounds kind of weird. I think I'm starting to like seeing parents, you know, in those kind of relationships. Maybe because I'm an adult now and I have kids, you know, before, you know, reading like college romances and things like that was cool because I didn't have kids and all that jazz. But I think I'm enjoying these types of books now because I am a parent, and it's nice to see parents get a little romance, you know, and have relationships and stuff. You know, we're not dead. We're alive. We have needs too. Okay, getting off topic here. But anyway, so the bond between Riley and Oliver's daughter, you know, slowly but surely builds. She, you know, and Riley forms this attachment to her, as you know, as well as the little girl forms the attachment to her. And then slowly but surely you start seeing Oliver and Riley have feelings for each other. The really, I guess, heartbreaking thing about this, I'm like, oh, this is such a good book. Oh, and then I start talking about heartbreaking. What's kind of, what's sad about this book is that Riley has so many, she's really insecure, and a lot of it is probably because of her mom and her sister. I mean, like, they are constantly, like, judging her, kind of putting her down, expecting the worst from her. And just, oh my gosh, like, Amber at times, like, both of them, I wanted to punch them both in the face sometime. Like, there needed to be somebody there to like stand up for this girl, to stand up for Riley and have her back. And that should be her mom and her sister. Like, it should be them defending her against the world, but no, they're the ones tearing her down. So, they just really pissed me off. And a big irritating thing about the book was the communication. The poor communication between Riley and Oliver just pissed me off, because I just wanted to like shake her, like, girl, you are good enough. He loves you, girl. And then I want to shake him, like, will you please tell her that you have these feelings for her? Would you please tell her that you love her? Like, oh gosh, well, I wonder, you know, if he wants me. I wonder. It was that frustrated me. Like, if y'all just would talk and stop talking to other people, this could all be resolved. Okay. Next up in February, The Eternal Ones. So this is by Namina Forna, or Namina Forna. So the final installment of the Gilded One series. So I don't have a whole lot of notes on this. I'm not going to go into excessive details on it. For one, because I just didn't write down a whole bunch of notes for it. This book, it was good. But if you recall, I said book 2 was so frustrating for me. By the time I got to book 3, I just wanted to finish the series. So for this one, I just needed some finality, and I got it. Okay. I do feel like it, I don't know, like it kept adding layers that I was just like, I didn't necessarily need. Like where is this whole nother set of this or that? Like I can't really go into, it's book 3, so I don't want to go into like details about it, because if you haven't read book 1 and book 2, then I don't want to give anything away. But once again, the sisterhood is what really, and the action, when the action happened, it was good. So the sisterhood and the action is what I loved about this series. And yeah, good. A lot of people got a happily ever after at the end of this series, so what can you say? It did make me cry at times, so woohoo. Sign of a good enough book, I guess, if Shalita cries. But anyway, yeah, so Eternal Ones. I guess I don't even know if I even rated this one. If I did, it was a 3. It was just middle of the road for me. Okay, so last book for March. No. Lord. Mom brain. Last book for February was The Throne of Broken Gods by Amber V. Nicole. Let me tell you, this, I think this is slated for 7 books, and I'm so excited for that. Okay, so The Throne of Broken Gods is actually book 2 in this series. So I read book 1, I think it was end of December, and I gobbled that shit up. I loved it. So book 2, I'm not gonna lie, in the beginning it frustrated me. I think it took me to like chapter 23 to be like, oh yes, it's on and popping now. But, and there's like 90 something chapters, so that's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine that it took me for it to take that long. But this is I guess a romantasy / dark romantasy. And the story, the main characters of the story are Diana and Sam Keel. This is like an enemies to lovers book. So Sam Keel is a god. Like he's like the god, like the god of gods. He's the ultimate god. And his nickname is the World Ender. The World Ender. So my man clearly, you know, has some clout with a name like that, right? And Diana is, and you know, fantasy books, I could be pronouncing it right, I could be pronouncing this wrong. She is an Igmorathan. So she started out as human, something happened, and this guy named Caden kind of made her into an Igmorathan. Anyway, so Diana is a total freaking badass. She is a morally great character, and I absolutely love her. Reminds me of my sister in a way. She will do anything for the people that she loves. She is like the epitome of ride or die. She's ready to fight, kill, whatever for the people she loves, especially her sister. She's just she is just top tier there, you know. So, does she do terrible, horribly violent things to people and beings? Yes, but it's for the people she loves. So you're like, she get a pass. She gets a pass. So, yeah, so in book one, you know, Diana and Sam Keel kind of, you know, they start out hating each other, and then they kind of develop these feelings for each other, and then, you know, things kind of continue in the book two. I feel so weird, like, talking about like a sequel in a book, or, you know, like a third or fourth or whatever, before even talking about the first book, because I'm like, I don't want to give anything away, right? So anyway, so Diana and Sam Keel are our main characters, and then our baddie on the other side of things is Caden, who is a total dick, who has used Diana's sister as like a, not a bargaining chip, but he's used her to control Diana. You know, like, hey, if you love her and you want to keep her safe, you're going to do X, Y, and Z. So, oh, man. But just, yeah, the love that she has for her sister, it is so, you just love it. Anyway, so this book had me sobbing. I'm like, sobbing. So good. The action's good. The moments that made you cry were so freaking good. But an excellent book. I cannot wait for book 3 to come out. So, that is Throne of Broken Gods. Alright, so moving into March.